Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video in a series that I like to call Behind the Edit. In this series, I'm going to be screen recording my screen while I edit on Adobe Premiere, and you will be able to see how I edit, what my workflow system is, which way I cut things, fade things, how I drop my audio, all different ways that I edit. And I think that's kind of cool because I'm always curious about how other people edit, so now you can see what I do. Maybe you'll notice something that I'm doing wrong, or something that you know of a quicker way of going about that, or maybe you'll learn something from this. So I think this is going to be a fun little experiment. We'll see how this goes, but today I'm going to be editing a short film called Queso Grande. And a little backstory on this short film. This was for our school's open house tour. I go to Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, and every month we have an open house tour called the Behind the Scenes Tour. And future students come on this tour, they tour the school, and if they're in the film program, they come to this soundstage that we have, and we put on a production for them. So this is just a little fun short film that we put on for the tours. I was the camera operator on the shoot, so I kind of know what shots I want, what shots I don't want, so I don't necessarily have to go through the entire thing and watch them all, because I know which ones are good, which ones are bad. But the first thing I'm going to do is set up my sequence. So we're going to go File, New Sequence, and you can do either custom settings or you can just do presets. I like to do custom because usually everything I work on is a different camera, different frames per second and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the info on each clip and see what the size of it is and what the frames per second is. And in these boxes here, I'm going to match that up to make sure that it's the same, because we don't want to have different sizes and all the formatting will be weird and things will be stretched out. So we're going to make this the same size as the clip settings, and also make sure that it is in 16:9 so that we get the nice ratio, everything looks even. If it's not in 16:9, it's going to look a little stretched out, so we don't want that. As for the pixel size, I like to go square pixels. That's my preference. Your preference could be different. And down below, we're going to name this. I'm going to call it Queso Grande because that is the name of the short film. So let's hit OK. Let's X out of that real quick, and let's fix our sizing of the screen. With Adobe Premiere, I really like how you can customize it to make each panel a different size, or if you want to hide them, you can hide them and do whatever you want. So let's open up the footage, and I'm going to scrub through them just a little bit just so you can see what we're working with. Like I said, I was the camera operator on the shoot, so I don't really need to watch every single clip the entire way through because I'm able to remember which ones I liked, which ones I didn't like, which ones were good, which ones are bad. So I'm just going to scrub through it, drop some clips down, start cutting them together. And yeah, and what we're going to do now is, since I don't want to show you the entire process of me editing because that's going to be a little boring, sitting here and cutting it together for 45 minutes, so we're going to speed this process up and move right along. So here we go. So now that I've reached the end of the edit, the first thing that I like to do is make sure that the picture and sound fade out. You don't want it to just end abruptly because it throws audiences off and no one really likes that and it feels unnatural. So what you're going to do, you're going to go over to your effects tab and either look for constant power or exponential fade. Both of them get the job done. They do slightly different things, but both of them will work, so you can choose either or, which one you like, and you're going to put that on your audio. As for video, you're either going to use cross dissolve or dip to black. Cross dissolve is more of a crossfade. Dip to black just goes straight to black. Again, both of them get the job done, and it is up to you which one you would like. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is set the timeline to the time that I would like it to start, which is going to be 0:00:00:00. Some people like to start it at 59 minutes or 60. I like to go all zeros. And now you're just going to make sure that all of your times line up and everything is in sync. So now I'm going to do some color correction. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip ahead to what I've already color corrected, and then I'm going to show you how I got there. So let's do it. Alright, so looking at our monitors here, on the left side is the original raw image, and on the right side is the color corrected image. As you can see on the left side, it's a little pink and kind of looks flat. The right side is a little more blue and it feels colder, whereas the raw image feels warmer. I went with the blue and the cold feel because the DP said that that's what she wanted. She wanted to make the bar seem cold and empty and like it's been there for a long time. So I'm going to show you how I got there. So the first thing that I did, I went to my creative tab and I started looking at creative LUTs. Now some people have a bunch of presets. These are kind of the Adobe ones that they have in stock. On my other computer I have a ton of presets. I should really put them on this computer. I think I'm going to do that for the next video. I don't know why it's not on here, but I just use the ones that they have. So I kind of just went through them one by one, see which ones I like, see which ones I didn't like, which ones fit, which ones were too much, which ones were too blue, too green. And you can go through all of them. And under the little thumbnail that's on the right hand side, it says the word intensity. And there's a little scrub bar, and you can kind of bring that up and down. See how blue you want it, see how blue you don't want it. It's up to you. You really do have the creative freedom with these, and I do love these, and I think they're awesome if you want to get a certain image that you're doing. So I stuck with the blue palette over here. This is the Blue Moon one that we went with, and then I went back to the and then I went back to the basic tab and started playing around with the color temperature and the exposure, the contrast, and the highlights and all that to get the nice image that I got. I didn't want to go too much into the highlights. For some shots I had to manipulate, and what I did was that I did the changes to one image and then I saved it as a preset, and I kind of laid it on top of all the other images, and then I went to each image one by one and manipulated it because each shot was a little different. Some had more light, some had more highlights. I adjusted the curves a little bit, the white curves, the blue curves, and you want to do this for every clip because not every clip is going to look exactly the same. You want to make sure that each clip has their own edits to them. So you're just going to go through these tabs. I brought down the highlights a little bit because some spots were a little blown out than others. Like you can see on the door, there's a lot of highlights. In this shot, behind his head, there's a few. This shot, the ladder definitely had highlights, so I had to bring those down a bit. So when you're going through, you're just going to want to look at each shot, see what you can change, what you can improve. Where's the highlights, what needs more contrast, and it's going to be a little hard at first. It's a little overwhelming if you're not really sure what you're doing, but there are some awesome tutorials up on YouTube. If you can't find the perfect one, maybe I could do one for you, but like I said, you're just going to go through every shot and manipulate it in your own way. So next thing I did was the audio, and again, for each shot, you're going to adjust the audio to what it needed to be. This audio that we had was a little low, so I did have to raise each shot a few decibels. A little trick to do so is you can either go into the effects tab, or you can right click and you're going to scroll down to audio gain. And then you can adjust it that way. You could either do set gain to or adjust gain by, your choice, whatever works better for you. But just make sure you go through each clip and adjust the audio as needed, and then afterwards you're going to scroll through, make sure that the audio is all even. There aren't some clips that are higher, there aren't some that are lower, because it'll be jarring to the audience and they'll notice. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys have any tips or suggestions on how to make this better, please do feel free to comment them below. I will be looking at the comments, and I really hope for some feedback on this. You can watch the full video right here. There's going to be a link right on the screen. And also, don't forget to subscribe and share. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to make more content soon.